a lot of success in the high school ranks. I guess, how did you end up here at Western Kentucky? What made you want this job? Just what was that process like for you?
Well, I guess first and foremost, let me say I've been very fortunate in my career to really have the opportunity to coach in some very tradition-rich programs in the state of Georgia, and also coach some great players, which is undoubtedly has helped create this opportunity for me here. But when I was at Valdosta High School as the offensive coordinator, our staff came up here a couple of years ago to meet with Coach Helton and the offensive staff, and just to look at some things they were doing from a schematic standpoint. And he was very gracious to us, allowed us to come in and watch the practice and sit in on their meetings. And so there were some things that we were able to take away and implement into our system. And, from that opportunity, we were able to establish a relationship that we've kept. And so when this opportunity presented itself, Coach Helton and I had a discussion about it, and things moved fairly quickly.
And, continuing that relationship now at Western Kentucky, I mean, what most excites you about this team, this program, the group of guys that you're working with, that you're joining?
Well, I said this the other day when I was asked by the media. When you walk into this building, I think the culture that certainly Coach Helton is leading with this new team is evident. And it's exciting to be a part of that. There's also a lot of newness that's going on in the program, in which in some cases change can be exciting and new. Obviously, there'll be a totally new offense, and there's new coaches in some cases on the offensive side of the ball. There'll be a new defensive coordinator. And so I think change sometimes creates a good urgency, and sort of everybody's alertness is at a different level. And so I'm excited here. I think we've got some really, really good ball players. And I think, when you couple that, compare it with the men that are on the staff, that's one of the things that I've been very excited about is again, that family culture that's here, is that when you walk into the building, all the coaches, everybody gets along. Those relationships are great. Everybody respects one another. And that starts with the leadership from our head coach. So he's assembled a coaching staff of great men. And that's where it starts. And then I'm really excited about these players that we have. I'm excited about the guys in my room, that I've been given an opportunity to get to know. And I just think, especially with the system that we're going to offensively, it's going to create a lot of opportunity for these guys to demonstrate their abilities.
Coach, this is Matthew Hargrove with the College Heights Herald. First stint at the college level, just talk about what that means to you, knowing that you've reached this level.
Well, it's exciting. I mean, obviously, this is an opportunity that I've worked for, and I think that I'm prepared and ready for this. If you look at, Lee County, Valdosta, Colquitt County, these programs that I've been able to be a part of in South Georgia, you're coaching a high caliber of athlete, and you're also going against coaching staffs and other programs of coaches who are very established. And so, from a football standpoint, I really do feel like it's prepared me very well, just for the work ethic that it takes I think, to be successful at this level. And then also being in those places has allowed me, and the responsibility that I've had in those places sort of given me a platform to develop relationships and get to know a lot of coaches and communicate with a lot of good programs in Georgia that I think is certainly going to help me in this role here from a recruiting standpoint.
And also, what would you say you bring to the table, and what are you going to try to get out of your wide receivers during your time here?
Right. Well, every day when I walk into the building, I try to have a sense of urgency about everything that I'm doing. And I think opportunities in life or potential until you actualize them into action. And I think you have to have a sense of urgency about yourself and whatever you're doing. Whether you're walking to get a cup of coffee, or you're preparing for a position group meeting, or you're communicating with coaches about something related to whatever business that we have going on. I think it's just an urgency, that has an appreciation for the responsibility that I've been given and the task that we've been charged with as coaches, through Coach Helton's leadership. And, that's the same sense of urgency that I want to bring to the guys in my room. if you are a skilled guy, and particularly in the wideout position, I just think that, this is an opportunity for them this year to, be a part of an offense where they're going to have an opportunity to touch the ball. And but there's some responsibility that comes with that opportunity. So they need to have a sense of urgency about what they do. And I won't ever ask of my players to do anything that I'm not willing to do. And I think as coaches, you have to emulate what you want your players to be. Now, obviously, we can't go out and run and catch like they can. But from the standpoint of having the discipline and the mindset that it takes to be successful, certainly I want to emulate that to them. And certainly they will feed off of me and, take that mindset as they attack, the tasks that they've been given.
Coach Jared with the Daily News again. I believe the semester just started there for the spring, and you obviously were just named the head coach. I guess, what's your relationship like with some of the players at this point? And I guess who stands out to you a lot in that room that you have?
Well, we're still very early in, and I think that's an exciting thing. When you talk about that sense of urgency, I can't tell you right now really which one of them, when this all comes out in the wash, will, where the depth chart will be. But what I can tell you is that I've been very intentional about developing those relationships. I have and these guys know since the time we've had to meet since I've been here, I have a core group of values that I call what are my non-negotiables. And, first and foremost of those is trust. And I believe that any successful coach, when you deal with players, it starts with trust. Coaches or players won't play for a coach they don't trust. They won't play hard for them. And typically, in most situations, a coach is not going to play a player he doesn't trust. And so from day one, I've tried to be very intentional before we even started talking about anything football related, is to build and establish that trust and relationship with each one of them so that they know when I'm pushing them or asking them to do something, it's coming from the place that I want them to be successful. And so that's really been the basis of which, I've been trying to build my relationships, and the guys are responding well. I'm very excited about each one of them, to be honest with you. And, as we get going and I see them moving around and, how they prepare and how they work in the weight room and how they attend class, as we get further down the line, that'll begin to give me a little bit greater blueprint as to, what ultimately the level of success they can have.
It's been kind of an unconventional off season in terms of signings for Western Kentucky. Obviously, they're going to have some players back that have experience, but a lot of the guys that they've brought in are college players that transferred instead of the typical high school recruits. How much does that kind of help where they have that level of experience just playing at the college level or practicing at the college level as opposed to, the high school kids coming in? How much does that help you entering this new role?
Well, I think there's some give and some take with that. I mean, just for those kids, even though that they've been at different colleges for some of them, what they're going to ask to do here may be different than what they've been asked to do. This is a new place. This is a new environment. These are going to be new experiences for them. Now, they'll be a little bit different maybe for them as opposed to a kid that's coming into from the high school standpoint. But my major point is you really don't know until you see how they're going to act or how they're going to sort of, assimilate to the situation here. And so, my thing is whether you're a high school kid that's coming in that we're going to recruit or whether you're a transfer, to me, it's the same level of urgency. And I think to me, if a kid is good enough, they're old enough. And I think you can make a mistake as a coach if you come in and say, well, just because this kid is a transfer, this automatically means that he's going to be more ready or better suited within our system to play over another kid. Because I think if you do that, you're going to naturally sort of create a schism or maybe a biased evaluation of a kid before you actually see them. And so I'm excited really for whether you've been here, whether you're going to be a transfer, whether you're going to be a high school kid that we bring in. My thing is everybody needs to have a sense of urgency. It's sort of like that old parable. You're either the cheetah or the gazelle. And I don't care where you're at this level. I think, like I said, whether you're a guy that's been here, whether you're a transfer that's coming in, or whether you're a high school guy, that really needs to be your mindset, you know.